Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, welcome back to another high level Protoss vs Terran. Today we're over here on Moondance with Classic versus ByuN, a banger of a Protoss vs Terran. ByuN of course my teammate. I'm curious to see what he's going to bring to the table today. Ooh, something interesting, we'll talk about it later. And of course we got Classic opening up with a little bit of a pylon wall up here. Against the Reaper pylon gateway, Cybercore will wall off this area completely and thus disallow any Reapers from jumping in. Now, the important thing, or the noteworthy thing that's happening here, that Classic has spotted at this moment as well, is the fact that this barracks is delayed by about 5 seconds. The reason that this barracks is delayed by, well, it's more like 4 seconds actually, finished at 131. The reason why this barracks is delayed is because Refinery got taken before the barracks. This is talked about as a gas first opener out of Terran. This allows the Terran to get a Reaper very quickly, a fast command center, while at the same time also rushing out a factory at extremely high speed. And that is what we're going to be seeing here. We see the factory go down. This is one of the builds that had fallen kind of out of the meta and out of popularity as well. We haven't seen a lot of people use it, but then in the last GSL, all of a sudden we saw ByuN bring it back, that no scout, high ground CC, Reaper first, gas first style. It's something we honestly hadn't seen in a while. The way that he tends to use it is with a little bit of a mine drop in the early game, followed up perhaps by a Raven. We'll have to wait and see how Classic is going to try and fight this. It seems like the answer is going to be a Stargate here, for starters. Reaper's going to jump up here and figure out exactly what it is, of course. There we go. Jumps up, jumps down. Adept is trying to catch his Reaper, but will not catch it. So, one of the disadvantages of this build order that ByuN is playing is that it has slightly less economy. Of course, earlier gas mining means less mineral mining means less money. Less money means a worse eco. CC is also a little bit delayed because of that, and CC also being on the high ground means you're cutting another worker out. Every worker takes about 12 seconds, or not about, every worker takes 12 seconds to build. So if you're flying towards your natural for 12 seconds, that means you're going to have one less worker later on in the game. Of course, there's some snowball included there as well. So yes, economically not the greatest opener. Tech-wise, however, I absolutely love this opener. Such a fast factory and having a quick scout. This type of opener had been popular for a while with a barracks first, marine first opener, which is very different as it doesn't allow you the Reaper scout, and it also tends to be fairly easy for the Protoss player to figure out what it is exactly. You can send your first adept across the map, and with your first adept across the map you see that it's only a single marine. And because the reactor on the Terran side is delayed, you know, like, hey, only a single marine, that probably means that there's a fast factory here. You can just scout up with the adept, see that the factory is on the reactor, or see that the factory is not on the reactor, and respond accordingly. So that was a lot of information right there. What I'm trying to say is that ByuN has about 14 seconds faster factory. That really is the main difference here. When it comes to build order opener, Cyclone's going to try and catch this Oracle. Does not want to take too much damage against these Adepts though, because in that case the Oracle can just turn around and perhaps deal some big damage against the Cyclone. There is a second Cyclone in the main. We have two barracks here, Stim as well as a barracks just pumping out reactor units. Second barracks, or third barracks, excuse me, is going to be built here on that second tech lab that built two Cyclones initially. We might see a third CC go down in the far back, but we might also just see a starport being thrown down here together with a reactor starting. We don't see an eBay here quite yet. Okay, there we go. eBay is being constructed right now. That means that we will get to that +1 upgrade. And ByuN moving out at an awkward, I don't want to say awkward, at an odd timing. This is something we don't see very often. It is a weird amount of units. It is a lot of units, don't get me wrong. It actually is a lot of units. Holy crap, that's a lot of units. Ooh. Cyclones dodging that stasis. Marines not quite. Blink is on the way here, and as Classic took the third base in the back, seems kind of okay here for the Korean Protoss player. I like this here for the Korean Protoss player. Stasis once again being put down. Uh-oh. Cyclones tried to catch that Oracle, will not get it. As these 5 Marines are going to get taken out. Stim is about to finish up as ByuN returns back home. Bunker is on the way. Solid start here for Classic, who's going to get his third base up for free. He's already building pylons around the map for that vision spread that is so important in the Protoss versus Terran matchup. This is all of a single Oracle. Now, a single unit really has been lost on the side of Classic. Just one probe. It's not really a fighting unit though, so we won't count it. Marine gets sent out here and we'll march in towards a big Stalker Marine force. There's one issue for Classic, and that's the moment that the Oracle dies on the side of Classic, Classic will be in trouble vision-wise. You have a very late robotics facility with it. You can't really afford to spread your units out too much, because you just don't have that many units initially. You're working off of a low amount of gateways, and just get a lot of units from there. To try and really kill that first push or to try to hold a ramp somewhere. So if you spread 4 or 5 units around, you just don't have enough units to hold the ramp. Difficult build order to execute often, this one. I think a lot of people struggle with this type of Oracle and the Blink style that we see Classic play here. 30C is being built in the far back here for ByuN. ByuN a little bit of trouble. Usually as a Terran player in this phase of the game, you want to be up about 10 to 20-ish supply with your first medevac push, and that can allow you to do something. Now, the good news here for ByuN is that there's no major tech yet. Hell, there's not even charge yet. That's actually kind of a big deal. It's going to be done in 10 seconds from now, but 10 seconds is perhaps a little bit too late. No, 12 more seconds for charge. These Zealots are just going to get targeted down. They're not getting the damage that they want to, but despite all of that, I do believe that Classic, well, is barely going to be able to hold on. ByuN takes a bit of a supply lead. Interesting blink forward. Not so sure if that's the correct call. Can we get a pickup here on a Marauder? No, we can't. Poor pickup micro coming out of ByuN, honestly. And that is somewhat surprising, as he's known for his great pickup micro usually. Is still going to keep a lot of his army alive. 55 workers against 59. The back base is now mining. We have, well, still only triple barracks production, actually. No, sorry. Barracks 4 and 5 are here on the low ground. I think this was an okay trade for ByuN. Let me confirm that. Yeah, it was an okay trade, right? ByuN lost a lot more units in the early parts of the game, so it probably was a somewhat cost-efficient trade for ByuN, but I think he wanted a little bit more. This trade also gave Classic the confidence to build a Robo Bay, as well as a second robotics facility. And once those Colossi come out, I actually do believe that ByuN's going to be in a little bit of trouble. A little bit of real trouble. Maybe not just a little bit of trouble, but perhaps a lot of bit of trouble. Mine drop is flying in towards the main base. Do we have an armory yet? No, we don't. That means that these mines will be capable of being spotted after they shoot. Will not require detection to be killed. First mine is going to drop in towards the main base. We'll get a single worker. Second mine and third mine perhaps. Yep, both going to get unloaded here over at the third. 3 workers will go down total. 2 mineral lines get pulled away for a decent chunk of time. And somewhat of a successful drop. Not the greatest thing, but also not the end of the world. There's still a timing, perhaps, here for ByuN that he could have hit had he not lost those mines. So imagine him pushing across the map right now with 6 mines. You could see some potential. I mean, Disruptors aren't out yet. Colossi aren't out yet. There's no real counterattack damage that Classic could really put on. And this is an army that would deal well with just pure Zealot Stalker at this point. You know, you're working with, what, 4 or 5? Imagine +3 mines. That would mean still only 5 mines over here. Do have a single Oracle getting in towards the main base. Is going to get taken out. Fort base is being built in position. Means it doesn't need to fly over there, but it also exposes it to potential Zealot run-bys. Yeah, Disruptors are out at this point. First Disruptor actually gets sniped down. Second Disruptor is going to get sniped down as well. Fantastic control here out of ByuN. Mines dealing a lot of damage as well. Armory just barely finishing in time. ByuN getting the trade, I want to say, of a lifetime. Classic perhaps a bit too over-eager here, walking down a ramp after losing both of the Disruptors, is taking a horrible trade. Just an awful trade, honestly. Now, it seemed like such a solid game, an almost unlosable game here for Classic, is now turning into a pure disaster. Now, third and fourth Disruptor are popping out right now, so the second wave of Disruptors, mine is going to get taken out. First Disruptor gets sniped, second Disruptor gets sniped, and once again, that expensive Robo unit count is going to get somewhat reset. These mines get another couple of shots, so look at that. 3 kills and 2 kills, those are all Zealots and Stalkers. Those are 5 gateway unit kills on those 2 mines, adding a lot of splash damage there as well. A huge deal as ByuN continues putting on more and more pressure. Fort base is done, Barracks 6, 7 and 8 are now on the way. We do not quite have a Ghost Academy, but I don't even really mind it, because we do see ByuN with continuous upgrades over here. Getting into that 2-2 with the Fort base already done, it wouldn't surprise me if we see a quick 5th with this as well. We have a lot of mines still coming forward. As long as the Disruptor count remains at 2 or 1. I think that mines are absolutely fantastic against this army composition, because do you really want to use 2 disruptor shots purely on just clearing some mines? Usually you do not really. Here we go. Disruptor's not really getting the damage that they need to. Not a single battery here either. This pylon is going to get sniped. Disruptor gets sniped as well before it gets the fire. Oh, this pylon will get another warp in out, and that means that these zealots might be able to save the day. Oh, poor engagement out of Classic once again. Classic, Classic, Classic. I like your supply, I like your opener, but everything afterwards, honestly, is just not it. Okay, all these mines are at least going to get cleaned up. That is something. It really felt like Classic should have been winning this game way harder. Look at that. Units lost over here. Don't forget, this is pure Bio fighting against a Disruptor Gateway army. And there's no Ghost. If there were Ghosts, this is the type of units lost step that we kind of expect, of course. With that EMP extremely viable against Gateway units. But this has been a pure Bio mine army. It's not supposed to trade this well. I mean, majority of the time, I think Classic had the same upgrades. Right now he's going to be behind at least one upgrade for a little bit longer. So, a little bit of a move command here coming out of ByuN. ByuN still down in supply. Let's not get our panties all in a bunch about Classic's position. He's still in an okay-ish spot. Okay-ish spot. He might actually be killing his opponent right now. I'm not so sure if you can do this without a prism here to reinforce. Single disruptor. I really liked a lot of the things that Classic did in this game, but I also disliked a lot of things that Classic did in this game. And one of the main things that I dislike is the way he engages into fights. The over-eagerness, kind of jumping into a battle with these disruptors. The disruptors' real power comes when they are 6, 7, 8 disruptors, and you continuously have these purification novas ready. It seems like Classic does not really want to play around that. Classic just says, hey, I have these balls. Let me throw some at you, buddy. It's going to be fantastic. And it has been fantastic, but for ByuN, Planetary might get sniped though. We have a bit of a flanking Bio army. Classic not quite ready for this. ByuN once again with a massive move command. It's actually going to take way longer to take out these disruptors than ideally he would have. I think that could have been a snipe on at least one of these disruptors. As now 2 of them barely managed to stay alive. Great control here out of Classic. Disruptors probably will end up falling anyway. Perhaps 3 disruptors actually will end up falling, as we have another chase movement coming out of ByuN. Just barely gets the disruptor snipe. That was an insane disruptor snipe there out of the Korean Terran player. That must have been insane. I want to go back to that after this game. I want to see how close that was time-wise. 13:30. Holy crap, that was wild. That actually was really crazy. First Ghost is out, hits an EMP, then dies. So, you know, did at least die doing what he loved. And that's throwing EMP on the Protoss army. Disruptor is going to get taken out here. ByuN is starting to trade better and better with these superior upgrades. A big medevac count, of course, also helping. A little bit of sustain to this, well, honestly, mainly Marauder army. A couple of Marines in there will help with their high damage output. But Marauders for the kiting, of course, are fantastic. That comes of Shell putting in some real work. Boom! 3 kills on that mine right there. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. 118 supply against 135. Reaper is being constructed. This is either the sickest scout that I've seen in my life, or this is a mistake. And honestly, most likely it's going to be a mistake. A little bit confused that we're not seeing a 5th base going down yet for ByuN. I honestly would have kind of expected it a bit longer ago. Do see it starting right now. We have some major, I was going to say some minor oversaturation, but that's really a big amount of SCVs too many. Some proper oversaturation there. I would have loved to have some of these workers somewhere else. Oh, flanking disruptors, going to take out one of these Marauders. Another disruptor does get sniped there. This really has been the story of the game, I think. It's just Classic building disruptors, hitting some disruptor shots, and then losing the disruptors. I think the beauty of the disruptor is keeping them alive, and you get to shoot again. It's not like they have 1 bullet and they die. It's not a Baneling, though it does have similar levels of splash damage. Ooh, that's a pickup right there. That's a pickup right there. Big drop heading in towards the main base. Our disruptor sniper ByuN drops in. Single pylon. Ooh, that's an Artosis pylon as we call it. +3 is going to get sniped just barely before it finishes. denied is what we see. All of these gateways unpowered as well. Single DT gets warped in. It's not going to be good enough. If these units can get into a decent position, I think they can actually take out this entire army. Big scan here on the DT. This is not going to be enough defensively here for Classic, who's now in a world of trouble. This is the issue that Disruptors have. If you don't have good upgrades on your gate units, and there is Bio, and your Disruptors aren't there, yeah, you're just going to die. More Disruptors going down. ByuN's takes the win here after an atrocious start, an atrocious early game, an atrocious beginning of the mid game as well. I want to go back to that snipe, the game-changing snipe, honestly, on that one Disruptor. I want to say it was like 1320, 1330, somewhere over here. No, it was none of these. It was none of these, right? No. It was a little bit later. It was this one. You can't see what the timer is on this? I thought you could always see. Just want to zoom in on this. Look how close this gets. I wish I could see how long it is. I thought you could always see this. Maybe I need to select him as a race? No. Well, this bar is, what, 100%? This might be like 0.2 seconds or so. Very freaking close at least. Game changing. You would have lost probably 10, 15 supply. This fight would have been a complete destruction. 3-4 Medavacs will end up going down here. The game just completely turns around in that case. A true game changer there. That move was a true game changer. Alright. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.